noise. We're surrounded by noise constantly. I'm not talking about car horns and construction work. I'm talking about things that consume our energy and drown out everything else. Things like Facebook, Twitter, iPhones, Blackberries, emails, instant messaging. Things that constantly are coming in and eliminate everything else that goes on in our world. Our generation has had to deal with this more than any generation prior. So what do? Now, so many of us, whether we believe in God or are searching for a God, we have questions, deep questions, tough questions. And we ask these questions, but we wonder why we can't hear the answer to them. Maybe it's because we're so surrounded by noise that we never listen for the answer. We never take time out of our schedules to go and intentionally listen. In the Bible, it says that Jesus often went to a secluded place, leaving the disciples behind to just go and to pray, to think, to meditate, to have communion with God. It also says that Moses, when he was going to receive the 10 Commandments from the Lord, went up to a mountain by himself, secluded, so he could hear what God had to say. Jacob in the Bible was going through a lot of stuff, and he stayed on one side of the river and sent his family on the other so that he could have quiet time to think, and in doing so he met God face to face. You have questions in your life. Are you taking time to listen for the answers? I'm standing here on the beach where 4 years ago I came out at night because the beach is where I went to hear from God, to ask tough questions, and just to shut out all the other noise so that I could hear the answers. 4 years ago I was out on this very beach and listening to God, and I heard from Him that night. And it wasn't like the skies opened up and I heard this booming voice. No. It was like a still, small voice. Recognizable, but quiet. Centuries of people have heard the same still, small voice, guiding them, leading them. And after that night, God told me to write down what I had experienced. So I went to Facebook and I wrote it down for everybody else to see. And that kicked off what would later be called the Pursuit blog. Because I went out one night, this whole portion of my life opened up because I was willing to listen. And I know many of you have really tough questions for God. Questions about life, questions about whether He exists, questions about what you should do. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. God is wearing His big boy pants and can take your tough stuff. But you'll never hear from Him unless you're willing to take time, intentionally to take time, to go and listen, to shut out the noise and to listen. God bless.